Hey y'all, welcome back. It's Chrissy O here from the ChrissyOShow.com and Chrissy O's Clucky Chronicles on the YouTube channel. Thank you for listening to the podcast show. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, sharing. Thank you for going to our little shop. I try to put things in our online shop, our store, that is going to be stuff that's beneficial to you guys who like to work outside, or you like to travel, or you like to do things. So we've got the neck fans out there that are ready. I got 3 left actually, and they're in silver and they work, so go get them. I also have some sourdough starter kits for those of you that are trying to do more of the healthier thing and cooking at home. So I heart y'all great big. Thanks for being here today. On the podcast show, we're going to be talking about the wonderful, beautiful, the enchanting Bobwhite Quail. I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a beginner's guide to hatching and raising. It's not going to be in complete detail because I'm going to wait and do a Bobwhite quail hatching video later for you guys that's going to go through all of that information. But while we're here chatting on the podcast show, I just thought I would go over it with you guys a little bit and just chat about it, okay? So we can have a good time talking about Bobwhite quails. Now, Bobwhite quails are pretty common in eastern North Carolina and other states as well. You know, they kind of travel. They do their little thing. They're very hardy here. I want everybody to know that it is a very delightful and rewarding bird to raise, okay? Now, the scientific name, I can't even say it. It's like Collinus virginianus or some crap like that. I just butchered their scientific name. You can go look that up. That's what it is. But anyway, one of the things that I really love about having Bobwhite quails and raising Bobwhite quails is their distinctive Bobwhite call. Their sound. They're very compact in size. If you loosely close your fist, they're about that size of your fist. They have very delicious eggs, and it also makes them a popular choice for like homesteaders, poultry enthusiasts, farmers, hunters, those types of things. So if you're considering and you want to add Bobwhite quail to your flock, I'm going to try to give you a little crash course guide to kind of walk you through a little bit of some of the essentials in hatching and raising and caring for Bobwhite quail. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to be posting a lot of videos of the Bobwhite quail babies, some hatching stuff, and the adults out in my barn with my flight pen. Okay, so let's get it started. First, I want to talk about hatching. Hatching is the miracle of life, okay? I love it. I love hatching all kinds of feathery fluffs. But the ones that I think are very unique in hatching, being that they really bust out of those shells, is Bobwhite quail, okay? So we always know that the journey is going to begin with incubation. We all know that, right? Okay, so Bobwhite quail eggs, they require specific conditions for successful hatching. We all know this. I mean, it is what it is. You got to worry about temperature, humidity, egg turning, and the incubation periods, okay? Now, on your temperature, we maintain a consistent temperature anywhere between 99.5 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 37.5 to 37.8 degrees Celsius if you do those things, okay? If you have fluctuations, sometimes it can slow down your impact on your hatch rates, but I've never had that happen. I mean, I just put that in there because some people have said that, but I've never had that happen. We, fluctuate a little bit because you're going to have to open the lid and candle and all that stuff. So it is what it is. Humidity is also something that you have to deal with. During the first 21 days, we maintain a humidity level of 45 to 50%. Then we slowly increase it from 65 to 70% during the last 3 days of lockdown. That's just to aid in hatching, to make sure that the membrane stuff doesn't dry off and doesn't stick to the floof on the inside of the egg and hurt the babies. Okay, because it's painful. They're not going to twist and turn and unzip that egg if they're dry and can't get out. But you also don't want it to be so wet in there that they can drown from the condensation coming from the outside of the egg on the inside of the egg. Okay. All right. Got all that. Temperature, humidity. Now, egg turning. I've talked about this before in previous podcasts. Your egg turner, they got to be turned multiple times a day. And if you do an automatic incubator, then they're going to do that. It's going to do that about every 2 hours. So it's just mimicking what the mama quail will do. And I will say this, after having Bobwhite Quail for years, I've never had a successful Bobwhite Quail hen as of yet hatch any babies for me. That is the absolute truth. So I incubate. That's the route for me. Now, we're going to turn these eggs in the egg turner at least 3 times a day. Your egg turner will do this if you have an automatic one with an egg turner in it. If not, then you're going to have to do it every 3 times a day for the first 21 days. That just keeps the developing chick on the inside of that egg from sticking to the shell upon them getting ready to pip and hatch. Okay? And it's good to rotate them. All right? So now, automatic egg turners, highly, highly, highly recommend it. Please do it if you can, okay? The incubation period for Bobwhite quails typically say about 23 to 26 days. I have always had my babies hatch on between 24 and 26 days. That's just how we've always had it happen here. Those dates vary. If the chick is ready, it's going to do its thing. All right? It is just going to do its thing. Okay? So now once that Bobwhite Quail chick pips and they break through the shell, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Resist, resist, resist. Allow them to do what they do naturally. They'll pip, they'll unzip. I've already talked about that in a previous podcast and a YouTube video. Go check that out, okay? Let them do their thing naturally, okay? Now, once they hatch and they've dried off, then you can transfer the chicks to the brooder. Now, typically with bobwhites, it's going to be about the same as baby chicks. They will not really want to eat anything for 48 to 72 hours. Typical for most babies, okay? Now, with the brooding and the brooder, warmth and nourishment, you got to have fresh, clean water. Let me go ahead and explain this to you about the fresh, clean water. You can use a regular, one of those baby watering devices, the plastic top with the little reservoir bowl at the bottom. But here's the kicker. What you're going to have to do with the infant bobwhite quails is you're going to have to get you some clean stones, clean flat stones, rocks, whatever it is. Make sure you've washed them and they're clean. You're going to put them in the bottom of that tray, because those bobwhite quail, when they hatch, they are unbelievably micro-sized, tiny little fluffs, and they can drown. So there you go. All right. That's not a good thing and not what you want to have happen. What they'll do is they will perch on the stones and they will drink just like if they would if they were in a stream, a creek, a river, or even a little mud puddle in the wild. Okay. That's your little deal right there. Okay. Your brooder is going to provide your safe, warm environment for all your bobwhite quail chicks, okay? Make sure that you've got your heat source, your heat lamp, your brooder plate, whatever your heat source is. It's got to provide consistent warmth for them, okay? Make sure your temperature's not too hot. Make sure you got plenty of bedding. We use the pine shavings. You can use paper towels, but listen, avoid cedar shavings. I know it smells good, but y'all, these cedar shavings are toxic. They've got like an oil in them. Don't make your baby sick, okay? Just change the brooder box whenever it gets nasty. Right now, we're changing ours daily, and because they don't really make that much of a mess like, chickens do. Like baby chicks, oh my gosh. The first week, you're not really changing it but once every 2 days. But once they get bigger, holy cow, it stinks. Plus, by the time the bobwhites get some size on them anyway in their brooder, you're going to be changing it at least twice a day. Mostly once a day if that's what you can do, okay? So make sure you got the good bedding in there. Don't use fine bedding because that can cause respiratory issues and get in their little nasal passages, their little nares. You want to make sure that you provide fresh, clean water and a high-protein starter feed, all right? Game Bird starter crumbles is what we use. Love it. It is wonderful, okay? And again, depending on your water dish, if you want to use shallow water dishes to just prevent them from drowning, I can't even talk because I'm trying to tell you so much so fast. Put the clean stones in the bottom, let them perch on them, and then they can drink. Make sure they got plenty of space to run around. It prevents overcrowding, and you don't want any stress or pecking issues. That's why I like to use those big, long, clear boxes. Now, as your baby quail starts growing, they have some growth and development when you're raising them that you got to be aware of. Some people will use growing pins. They'll use rabbit hutches. They'll, use all different types of quail pins or whatever. Ever how you want to contain them, that's your business. We're not shaming anybody. We're not judging anybody. Not everybody has the space that we have here or other farms or other places may have to be able to have a dedicated quail barn with a dedicated flight hen. So you do whatever's going to be clean, whatever's going to be comfortable, and whatever's going to transition them to adult. Okay? That's your business, and I will continue to always say that is your business. Just make sure that they're healthy, they're clean, they got plenty of enrichment to prevent boredom and pecking. They need sandboxes, dust baths, little hiding places, different types of things. If you're going to breed them, select your healthy and good birds, okay? Now, my ratio to that as far as like breeding and that goes is I always provide 1 male to 2, 3, or 4 females. So you guys have seen them. That works out pretty good for us. What you want to make sure with health concerns with bobwhite quails is make sure that you treat and you do what you need to do with them according to what your bobwhite quail doctor tells you, or your quail farmer or your vet, whatever it is that you have that's a professional, because they're going to help you with any type of potential parasitic diseases that affects their intestines. You want to make sure it's got good hygiene to prevent it against the that coccidiosis stuff. Make sure that they're not getting ulcerative enteritis, which is a bacterial infection that causes intestinal ulcers. So make sure the bedding is clean and you provide plenty of space. You want to clean. Make sure they don't have viral respiratory diseases and things by using too fine of a bedding that gets into their nasal stuff. Make sure that you're treating. We use diatomaceous earth and permethrin sprays to prevent like mites and lice, and make sure you inspect them and you just treat them as needed. And I will tell you this, quails have injuries. Those little boogers are tiny, but they will break a wing or a leg in a minute on you. I've had this happen. So they're very prone to injuries, pecking, flying into pen walls, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Also, during the summer, I make sure, spring and summer, even in the winter too, I make sure that they've got their balanced diet so they don't have deficiency. So I give them snackies. They love mealworms. They love grubbies. They love black soldier fly larvae. And you want to make sure that they're getting plenty of vitamin E and selenium because a lack of that can cause some issues. So you can give them the vitamins and stuff that you would give your regular chicks. Matter of fact, I do that. I'll do like a chick probiotic and a chick vitamin electrolyte packet, and that seems to help them with any kind of issues going on. Big positives of raising bobwhite quail. Doesn't matter if you're into this or not. You can be. You can have them as pets. You can have them as whatever you're having them for. That's your own business. And it's other people's business too. Again, we don't judge here. We don't be rude. All right. So the positives are they have some wonderful, delicious eggs. Bobwhite quail eggs, or any quail eggs for that fact, are super nutritious and they're flavorful. I can't even say that word, but it's a delicacy. It's really good. They're also used for meat production. It's a good source of lean protein. They're really good for pest control because they eat insects. They control garden pests. If you have them just flying around free range and not really pinned up, if you just want to populate your areas and all that, you do whatever it is that you need to do for your area in a proper way. They're fun to watch. They are so active and curious and loud. They got their bobwhite calls. They're just so stinking cute. They don't really need a big space if you're not having a lot of quail, so they don't really have that big requirement. They don't require as much space as chickens. And they also have that beautiful serenade of the bobwhite. Their calls are wonderful. Okay, so let me just talk about that a little bit. So the bobwhite call and the bobwhite sound, it's very recognizable. It's distinctive in their rituals, their mating, or calling other birds. The male's bobwhite whistle is so clear. It's 3 syllables. It's a 3-syllable sound, and I mean it is loud, and it carries way across fields and woods, and it just serves many purposes. It's territorial marking because mine do that. They will establish and defend their territory at all costs. They do it for mate attraction. They call the females when they're ready to do their jiggling stuff. Also, it's a contact call because it keeps the covey together. A covey is their little group that they have, in case you didn't know that. They also will do an alarm call, which is very sharp, ear-piercing, and it will signal danger. The males have a very beautiful call. Now the girl quails, they also produce like calls, but they're softer, kind of less frequent than the males, and mostly they'll do like a little clucky, chirpy, soft whistles, those kinds of things, and they'll do that inside the covey. But the males now, oh yeah, they're your loud boys right there. Here's a few considerations that you want to understand if you're using them or you're getting them for just pet purposes or you're putting them in your backyard to add to your backyard flock. They're cute. They're adorable. They're beautiful. They are loud. They are loud. Those little birds produce sometimes greater sounds than my roosters do crowing. So you got to be mindful of the noise, all right? Think of like your neighbor's proximity, especially if you're planning on raising any flock above 5 or 6, because they're going to let you know they're out there, and they're going to let everybody else in the neighborhood know you're out there. We have the blessing of space. We have the blessing of size out here, so I don't have any neighbors close by or anything, so it doesn't affect anybody. Now, the neighbors up the road, they can hear them pretty good, but beyond that, no. You also have to be mindful of predators. They're very, very vulnerable to predators. Hawks, snakes, foxes, raccoons will chew their noggins off. You just got to be careful and secure any pens and enclosures that you have with them. And there's winter care. Winter care, I mean, quail do tolerate cold weather, but they still need protection from the wind and snow, and they need a sheltered coop and access to unfrozen water and a heat source. We have to do that too. So if you're doing any kind of like detailed breeding program, just check your regulations and stuff and what you do in your area. And you can use leg bands to identify your quail, if you're breeding them or whatever. But I will tell you this, bobwhite quails is a very rewarding thing to have. They are wonderful pets. They are also wonderful in whatever poultry program that you put them in. They are absolutely fabulous. Now, if you provide them proper care, nutrition, and housing, you're really going to enjoy the benefits of them, no matter what you use them for. They're charming birds. They're delightful. I love their call sounds. Just be sure before you get bobwhite quails to research and adapt your methods of what you're doing and how you need to do them. And it's specific to your environment and your needs, and also the quail's needs. Now, this is just specific talking about bobwhite quail. I'm not talking about any other type of quail because different quail breeds need different things. So, button quail are going to need something different. The coaching quail is going to need something different. Every other type of quail is going to need a little tweaking and a little something different. So, my experience with bobwhite quail, they make the best little pets. They are wonderful. People enjoy their eggs. We have a really good time raising them. Out in the wild, their lifespan is about 1 to 2 years. So where we've had ours, they live a lot longer than that because we take care of them pretty much. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast show all about bobwhite quail. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share to the YouTube channel. Always go to the website at chrissyoshow.com. You're going to find everything there from recipes. Our shop is there. You're going to find the blog posts. You're going to find the YouTube links for the vlog posts there. We have a kids-friendly page that's also there with free, easy reading information, free coloring, downloadable pages, all kinds of stuff, and some free chicken games for them as well. So I hope you guys have a fantastic, fabulous week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all that you do to help all of our fluffs out here. And on behalf of the Pecking Crew and myself here at Chrissy O from Chrissy O's Clucky Chronicles podcast show, I wish you all very well. Have a fantastic, flocktastic week. I fluff and love all y'all. And once again, if you can't be good, babies, be good at it.